Hello, everyone, and I would like to welcome Senaka to our Fintech Garden community and thank you for accepting our invitation to do the interview. Today, I would like to ask you a few questions, and we are here in Kingdom Saudi Arabia on Money20 event, which is happening for the first time here on the ground. And hello, Senaka, how are you?
Hello, Igor. It's a pleasure to meet you. I think we've known each other for quite a while now. It's really nice to see you in Riyadh as well. We met many times in Europe before, but first time in the Middle East, but very interesting.
Yeah, thank you so much. And maybe you will disclose a little bit of your experience to our audience. Like, what did you do in past and what is your overall experience with the fintechs?
Yeah, so I have been working in the financial services industry now anything between 15 to 20 years. I'm an expert in middleware. My rise to popularity was when open banking and PSD2 was a big thing in Europe.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, now you find the same implementations here. These days, in Saudi, the most interesting thing is cross-border payments and also about enabling fintechs. And I think the government of Saudi had set a target I think about 2 years ago when they said they will grow the fintech ecosystem by 2030 to about 550 registered businesses with licenses.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what brings me here.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And we see a lot of people from United Kingdom, European Union with established product go here, like Bank or any others. They given the speeches and they present themselves by having the booths. But what do you think the industry here is doing well for this year? Like, what has been nailed and working well?
What is working well, I think they are approaching digital banking very rapidly. The regulator is also very much interested and supportive of this. There's a big uptake for digital technology, applications running on smartphones and things like that in Saudi Arabia. People prefer digital more than cash and traditional methods of banking nowadays.
Yeah.
So that movement is, I think, driving innovation forward in Saudi.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And we see a lot of appetite in digital experience and having everything in smartphone and maybe preferably in WhatsApp. That's one of the way to go. Okay, and what you would recommend or what is your advice for founders? Because we see a lot of startups popping up here in the European Union, in United Kingdom. So what is your advice for the founders who are just starting in fintech?
In Saudi or in...
Let's say Saudi.
In Saudi, I think the biggest challenge, I think, will be to understand the local market very well. It's not because of you cannot speak Arabic or something like this, but understanding SAMA, the regulator, very well.
Yeah.
They have a very complex structure in terms of licensing. They require presence in Saudi Arabia, even for providing support, which is something that we might not hear in Europe. You need to be in Saudi Arabia, even if you are providing backend support, which is a little bit strange. There is Google Cloud here, of course, right now, but Microsoft and Amazon is still to arrive, hopefully next year. So there are these differences and challenges. But people are finding workarounds. There's, I think, Fintech Saudi, which will give you good advice about how to get set up here and how to run a business. There are lots of consultants helping businesses relocate or establish presence in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, and that's definitely. We see a lot of movements and welcoming from the local government and local private business to welcome companies here. Yeah. And maybe the last question for today, like, what do you think the challenges overall for the fintech industry? Like, we talked about the SAMA, but what do you think the industry will have to solve and find the solution this or maybe in the next year?
Overall in fintech, I think it's maybe adapting to the market here. There are two I think types of fintechs I've met, at least at this event, and I've been working with in this area. Some from Europe coming into Saudi. So for them, it's about understanding the Gulf market and working with customers' preferences. Slightly different, not entirely different. But for the fintechs over here, I think it's about how to create a product that will scale beyond Saudi. Dubai is a very big competitor to fintechs over here. The ecosystem is not exactly the same. Regulations are a little bit tough here, but I think they're to be relaxed somewhat soon. Everyone's hopeful of this.
Yeah.
So with that, I think innovation is key. And if there is a product that you are working on, I think the advice to a fintech and a possible entrepreneur is to understand this ecosystem very well, work with like entities like the Fintech Saudi, the regulator sandbox, and so on and so forth. Get to know the ecosystem, and once you are familiar with Saudi, it's easy to get a license compared to UK, for example. Here you can get a license in 1 year, right?
Okay.
So get yourself set up and run the business. I think that's okay. Forward, yeah.
Thank you so much for the interview, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, you're most welcome.